Hey guys, Spuddocker here, as always, and today we did some more one-on-one training with our friend Krytac here in the F-16C Block 50 Viper in DCS World, and today we took a look at ILS approach procedures and how to read and interpret approach plates, what the kind of the basics are for an approach using an ILS and a localizer. And it was very, very complicated and a ton of information for Krytac to digest, but he did pretty darn well with it being his very first time doing it, and he took to it pretty darn well. I know a lot of people that have a lot of trouble with this, both in real life airplanes as well as in DCS world, and Krytac, man, he just took to it pretty darn well. Had a few crashes and things, but just got the basics down, and I think he'll be off to the races with practicing in single player between our online training sessions here. I flew 2 example approaches for him. They weren't the best approaches in the world. They weren't the best approaches I've ever flown here in DCS world, but they got the point across, and I think that I was kind of distracted by having to answer questions and kind of narrate as I'm going through it. Things happen very, very fast while flying on the Glideslope and on localizer for an ILS approach in an F-16 because your airspeeds are so high. Yep. But I did put the wheels on the ground for both approaches. My second approach is much, much better than my first approach, so definitely use that as your example if you're going to be using that as an example. And make sure you just keep your eyes on a swivel, making sure you're keeping that instrument scan going, make sure you're keeping on glide slope, on altitudes, on airspeeds, all these kinds of things that you need to do as you fly those step downs down to your final approach fix and your glide slope intercept point. So hope you guys enjoy watching this, and as always, I do one-on-one training for patrons who donate $15 or more to the channel to help keep it going and help to keep the missions running and all this kind of stuff, and it's super appreciated as always, and it's very fun to do these one-on-one training sessions, and it's a great way to go from zero to hero in your favorite DCS world aircraft. So thanks a lot, guys, and of course, fly safe.
Okay.
This kind of middle stuff, where it says like when ALS in op or runway 21, ALSIF 1 and missed approach, we don't need to worry about that if in game here, because we're pretty much just going to make a landing. We're not worried about anything failing in DCS. And if you want me to teach you how to fly a missed approach, like say there's a runway incursion and some other player jumps onto the runway and now you can't land anymore, we can go over that at a later time, but we won't worry about that too much. ATIS, approach control, tower, ground control, and I'm not sure what clinic. I'm not sure. I don't remember what that stands for at the moment. But the only thing here that really matters to us is tower, and that's going to be 327.0, which we'll put into COM 1 on our ICP as well. And so as we fly from the southeast here, kind of flying closer into our map view here down in the bottom, is we're going to be starting in the air at 10,000 feet. And we can descend down to 8,900 feet. So do you see on the map where it says in parentheses IAF and then CRIS and then LSV?
IAF, CRIS, LSV with the 21. Yeah.
Yep. So that is, the IAF stands for Initial Approach Fix. And so basically we're going to be flying to this point. And then once we hit this point, that's when we're actually going to start flying our approach, basically. So we're going to start. We're going to hit that line, that 210 degree line, that radial that comes down into the localizer and the TACAN for LSV down there. We're going to probably hit that at about 30 miles DME. And so DME is basically distance measuring equipment. It basically just means distance. So our initial approach fix, CRIS, here is going to be a DME of 21 nautical miles from our landing point on the runway down here at Nellis Air Force Base.
Okay.
So when we hit that point at 21 DME, we want to be on a heading of 210 degrees, and we want to be at an altitude of 8,900 feet.
That's what I was going to ask you. It looks like that. So the 210 is the degree, and then when we do, so obviously, so we're not going to do a break approach? Because I see it says 210 and then 030. That's as if though I was braking on a clear day, correct? Is that what that says?
No, so that's actually for a hold. So
okay,
if
that's
we
a holding pattern. Okay.
Yeah, so if we were going to have, say, a bunch of jets, they would all be holding, flying reciprocal headings of 210 and then 030 at a DME of 21 nautical miles from the LSV TACAN station. And so, and that 265 radial is what radial they would be flying that on. And then, so when we get that actual number for the altitude, when we have a bar underneath the number, that means that's a floor. So we can't go lower than 8,900 feet when we're at 21 DME. But once we hit that 21 DME, we're going to start descending down, and we're going to keep flying at that 210 degrees all the way down here, and we're going to hit our intermediate fix, or IF, which is sheet LSV DME of 13.2. And at this point, we want to kind of scroll down and go to the second view that is called the planform view. The profile view. The planform view is this guy up top that we were just looking at. The profile view is the view just underneath it that kind of looks like a side view to what we're going to be flying. Okay. So sheet is going to be our intermediate fix at a DME of 13.2 nautical miles from our touchdown point at the airport at Nellis Air Force Base. And by the time we hit 13.2 DME, we want to be at 5,000 feet, but no lower than 5,000 feet. And then we're going to continue on. And then when we hit ROTC at 7.3 DME, that's going to be what's called our glide slope intercept point. So that's when we're actually going to use the needles to actually fly us on down to the airport itself and make sure that we can get and push through the clouds and fly safely at the correct altitude all the way down. Now, if we fly the ILS needle before this or after this point, we may get erroneous indications. The ILS beams tend to refract off of things on the ground, cars, roads, things like that. So we only want to start trusting that ILS needle once we hit ROTC at 7.3 DME. And then,
so mostly like 10 miles and then is where it starts to get really true.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. And we need to make sure that we are at 4,200 feet and no lower than 4,200 feet. If we're way above 4,200 feet, say we're all the way up at 6,000 feet or something like that, we will get an erroneous indication from the ILS needle. And then we'll just fly the ILS needle and the localizer needle all the way on down to the deck here, and we will go ahead and land. Now, when we hit that final approach fix and the glide slope intercept point at ROTC, we want to then dirty up, lower our landing gear, and get prepared for our landing. So in the F-16, that means lower the landing gear, make sure you're down at around 200 knots, and as well as start raising your seat a little bit so you can see the runway. A little bit easier for the actual landing itself.
Okay. You don't flare at all to get it dirtied up? Do you flare at all?
No, so we just, as we're flying on down, we just want to drop the gear and just let the airplane, as we're slowing down, naturally increase its angle of attack. So that way we get a nice, good flare into our landing. We want to, we don't want to, flare too much because we want to stay on that the ILS and the glide slope and the localizer needle. So I know that was a ton of stuff to throw at you, and you're not a pilot in real life and stuff, but if we can learn the basics of this, it will make flying through the clouds in DCS a lot easier and make more sense, and you won't get frustrated because you won't run into mountains and things like that, because these step-down points that we're looking at are all designed to keep us from hitting the mountains around Las Vegas.
Okay, got it.
Yep.
Makes sense.
Yep, for sure. So I'll go ahead and share my screen here, and then you can watch and see how it's done. Hopefully I don't make too big of a fool of myself.
Well, it's probably not every day that you do this, so you're probably like, why does he want to do that?
Not many people want to do it in DCS, and I am super excited to actually teach someone this in DCS because it's different. Everyone just wants to dogfight and land on a carrier.
Yeah, that's not the whole point of this.
Yep. Okay, so basically, so I'm going to go ahead and start myself up here.
Okay.
Oh, I got to unpause the server. Alrighty. Got control of the airplane now.
Alright.
I'm going to go ahead and set up my cockpit the way I like to have it set up. Alrighty, I'm about 45 nautical miles out from intercepting the localizer. So what I want to do here is I can open up my kneeboard, and then I can use the bracket keys to scroll to... Those are all for Tonopah, North Las Vegas. There we go. That's the TACAN approach. Yep, alright, so there's the approach we want on my kneeboard, so we can make quick reference to it, just right up there on our screen.
Yep.
And those are in DCS World by default, which is nice. So,
oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. So, I'm going to go ahead and go to my ILS TACAN page, and I'm going to input a TACAN of 12 X-ray. And enter, and I'm going to hit sequence to turn it to TACAN transmit receive.
Yep.
My ILS is on, which is good, so I'm going to dobra down, and I'm going to go ahead and input my 109.10 for my localizer frequency.
Yep.
10910, enter. And my course line, which is the final approach course, is going to be 209 degrees. So we'll put that in there and have that ready to go.
Okay. Yeah. So isn't it because it's runway 21, why would it not be 210?
Because it's runway 21, they're kind of rounded a bit. Most runways are a little bit rounded, but we need a more precise approach than the rounded off runway number. Because there's no runway 20.9, right? It's just 21. So that's why we put that in there, and now we'll go ahead and get our stuff set up. So we want to come down here to our HSI, down here on the bottom. I'll turn on my light here so you can see a little easier. We want to hit the mode button until we get to the PLS/TACAN. So right there, PLS/TCN for our ILS/TACAN approach. So our aircraft in this mode is using both information from the TACAN station at Nellis Air Force Base, as well as information from the ILS and localizer.
Okay.
And so right now, we're basically just flying in, getting ready to intercept the localizer. Once we get a little bit closer here, I'm going to pause it and explain to you a little bit more of the symbology that will pop up on our HSI and on our HUD.
Okay.
Yeah, so, I mean, all the terrain is definitely obscured. We can even see mountains that are sticking up above the clouds and all that.
Yeah,
so
cresting. Yeah, yeah. That's not good.
I may have put the clouds too low. Oh, there's Nellis. We're fine at Nellis.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and start my descent down to the altitude for our initial approach fix, which is our first step down at 8,900 feet down to Chris. I can see my DME distance from the TACAN station at Nellis Air Force Base, so we're looking for a DME of 21.04 Chris.
Yeah, you're at 41 right now.
Yep.
And does AOA come into effect at all on any of this, or no, not really?
Not really. We really just want to fly the needles,
Okay.
and if we fly the needles at the correct airspeeds, which you want to be, you know, about 250 knots on the approach, and then within the final approach fix, we want to slow it down to about 200 knots.
Got it.
Okay, so we got some additional information here on our HSI, and we have it turned into a course line and a CDI. So that CDI is basically telling us how far away we are from intercepting this course line, which is the 210 radial coming from the Nellis Air Force Base TACAN station.
Yep.
And so once this guy starts to move, we're going to make a left-hand turn to intercept the 210 radial. And when this guy is centered up, that means we are on the correct radial. So, and this guy likes to move really, really fast, so we just need to be careful of that.
Yeah, so explain to me, why is it you turn left?
So that's a little bit kind of confusing for everyone. But think of it as I'm actually kind of more oriented like this.
Yep.
So that means that course line, that 210 radial is off to my right-hand side out in front of me. So if it were the opposite side and it were off to our left-hand side, it would be down, the CDI would be down here on this bottom side. So that's kind of a weird, it's kind of weird to first learn about it, but it's just the way it is.
Okay, so you don't steer into the line, you steer away from it to bring it to center is what you're saying. Is that right?
Exactly, yeah. So it's already moving.
Yeah,
I kind of got, yep, I kind of got a bit distracted there.
No, sorry about that.
It's okay. It's just part of it. So I'm intercepting so that we can see the CDI is now coming off to our left, and we'll try and get back onto the correct course here.
Yep.
And we're going to start descending. Oh, we're a little bit below our final approach fix altitude, so we'll ascend, back up. So we can also see that CDI is represented on our HUD by the vertical needle. So that's...
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so we can see that needle is now off to the left-hand side of our velocity vector.
Yep.
We want to fly to the left to bring that guy back to the center of our velocity vector, and that will be represented by centering the CDI and our HSI down here.
Okay.
And so we got it pretty well centered up, so we want to turn back towards our final approach course of 209 degrees.
Yep.
And I'm slowing down to about 300 knots. I'm 100 feet low, but that's okay. It's not the worst thing in the world. I gotta recapture the CDI a little bit.
Yep.
The CDI, I shouldn't be calling this a localizer, because the CDI is telling us where we are in relation to the localizer course.
Okay.
So this is giving us our left and right lineup for landing on the runway.
Okay.
Alright, what's our DME? We're getting close to our initial approach fix at Chris.
Yep.
And it's really just now, it's all about just gentle corrections, making sure we stay on the localizer.
Now, does the radar on the right, does that give you any assistance whatsoever, or no, not really?
The HSD on the right-hand side, it will, it can. So that line, that white line that's on there, is what my INS sees. So I put a waypoint for a landing waypoint on right on top of Las Vegas Airport, or sorry, Nellis Air Force Base Airport. So we're now past the initial approach fix. We're past DME 21. So we're going to start descending down to 5,000 feet.
Okay.
And I'm still just making corrections to keep the localizer centered. I keep kind of busting through it a bit. I think it's because...
I'm asking you questions.
Yeah, it's okay.
Just pause it.
It's just multiplayer, so I can't pause it, unfortunately.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
That's all good. And, alright, so we're coming in. So we're looking for a DME of 13.5 2, so I really got to chop and drop here to get down.
Yeah.
And those beeping sounds are just, they are identification signals from the ILS as well as the TACAN station. They're actually Morse code, and they spell out the name of the station itself. They get a little bit annoying, but it's all good.
And you can just shut that off with the TACAN knob, the volume knob. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you don't really need it, right?
No, you really don't need it. As long as you have the right thing put in, you're good to go.
Got it.
All right, so I'm off. I'm off of the localizer, so I'm just making a gentle correction to recapture the localizer. I'm within the sheet, so now I'm going down to 4,200 feet for the ROTC Glideslope intercept point.
Okay.
Altitude.
All right, she's letting us know we're at 5,000 feet. Really got to recapture the localizer. I've really lost it here.
Yeah.
We'll let it
Not
drift
easy.
back in. No, it's definitely not an easy thing to do. All right, we'll turn back to our final approach course, and we now have our glide slope captured, which is that second needle, the horizontal needle. We want to keep those needles right in the center of our velocity vector on our HUD.
Okay.
And we are within the final approach, or the final approach fix, so we want to dirty up the jet. I'm a bit high. Probably going to get some ballooning here as the FCS gets into landing mode, which I definitely did. So we're going to bring the jet on down. So I want 3,200 feet when I'm 3.8 miles out, so I'm doing pretty good here.
Okay.
Now I'm below the glide slope. That's never a good thing. We never want to be below the glide slope because that's where you can run into the ground.
Got it.
So that's a big boo-boo there. Want to level
Stuff
out.
ain't easy, man.
No, it's not easy. You want to level out, recapture the glide slope, recapture the localizer. It's easier when you're not narrating it, so I think you'd probably do a better job than I did. Raise my seat a little bit.
My friend.
And we're starting to get closer to breaking out of the clouds, which will be a help.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're pretty far off of the localizer and the glide slope right now. We're trying our best. Yeah, I definitely would have failed the check ride with this one, but that's okay.
Well, you got some guy yapping in your ear asking you 20 questions.
Yeah, that's okay. Alright, so yeah, so not a good approach at all, because I came in so high. But we'll go ahead and try for the landing.
You know what? You got all wheels on the ground. That's a safe landing. That's a good landing, right?
Yeah, so in reality, I would have had to fly the missed approach on that one.
Altitude.
Oh, gotcha.
Well, that's okay. Oh boy, and ran it right off the runway. Alright, so any additional questions before you try it?
No, I think that's it.
Okay,
Let me give it a whirl.
cool. I will go ahead and end my stream, and then I will watch your stream and help coach you through it.
Okay. Second here.
Okay, so do you know how to bring up the kneeboard?
Is it K?
Yeah. So that's kind of how to do the momentary view.
Yep. Is it left shift K?
Yeah, I think it is left shift K. So watch your altitude here. Want to stay above 8,900 feet.
Okay. I just put it on autopilot for a second.
Yep, definitely use the autopilot to help you out here. And we want to look for... Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Oh, one more. One more. Yep, that's the one we want.
This one right here.
Yep.
Right?
Yep, that's the one we want.
Alright, so the TACAN station.
Yep, go ahead and roll your jet wings level though, so we don't get further out away from Las Vegas.
Gotcha.
Yep, just put her in altitude hold mode. Try if you can to climb back up to higher than 8,900 feet. Because remember, we gotta be higher than our 8,900 feet. Oh, we've got the wrong approach plate up. And you bring your speed up a bit. There you go. Now go ahead and throw on your altitude hold mode. Alright, that'll help us out. Okay, we want to go for... Go one to the right on the brackets. Okay, one to the left. Left. There we go. That's the one we want.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, so we want to go to push tile number 1, T-ILS on the ICP.
Yep.
Okay, we don't put in TACAN 12 X-ray.
Yep.
Alright, we got that. Now dobra down. 109er.10. Alright, course of 209er. Alright, and let's look down at the HSI. Alright, let's put it into PLS TACAN. There we go.
Okay. Do I still need the knee board up or no? Not really.
You do want to have it up so that way you can see the step down points and the DMEs and the altitudes you should be at. Because after Chris, we want to be at Sheet at 5,000 and then ROTC at 4,200, right?
Right. So Chris is at 21 miles.
Yep. So we're not on course here. We don't want to fly directly at Chris. We're just going to continue on our current course, intercept the localizer, and then fly into Chris.
Okay.
Can you turn on your instrument lights for me and make it a little easier for me to see?
Yep.
Perfect.
Better?
Yep.
Okay.
Alright, so keep an eye on the HSI. So that way once you start to see the CDI, and you see the CDI start to move inwards, that's when you want to start your turn to 210 degrees.
Okay.
Keep an eye on your altitude.
Yep.
Alright, still got a ways to go.
Yep.
We're about 12 miles out from getting our CDI to pop up. And we're rolled to the right just slightly, so our heading's going to keep changing. So make sure that we're nice and wings level. I would start to slow it down a little bit, or you're going to blow right past the localizer.
Oh, okay.
Yep, so bring it down to about 300 knots. Even though we're slowing down, we want to keep the same altitude, right? So keep keep the velocity vector on the horizon. Climb up and see if we can get to 8,900 feet.
Yeah, I climbed a little bit.
Yep, that's okay. Alright, there you go. Go ahead and level out.
So is it the radar altitude or the barometric altitude that I need to look at?
Your barometric altitude.
Okay.
Yep. We're still rolled to the right a little bit. So make sure we're nice and wings level. There you go. Check the HSI for me. Alright, so we passed the localizer. So go ahead and make a hard turn to the left. Keep it at the same altitude. Alright, what's our DME? I can't see it.
We're at 35.
Okay, so we got room. So bring it hard to the left. And then increase your throttle a little bit so we can stay at about 300 knots. And we don't want to level out at 210. We want to level out right about 190, so that way we can re-intercept the localizer. So there you go, roll on out. Keep an eye on that HSI. And you can also use the localizer needle on the HUD. So go ahead and roll wings level. And we'll wait for the localizer needle to come back into the center of our velocity vector. Alright, what's our DME?
We are 31.
Roger. We got some room to work with here.
So at 21, we still need to be at 8,900, so I need to go up.
Yep. Yep, you always want to air high rather than low.
Yeah, it's easier to go down, right?
It's easier to go down, and it's easier to live that way.
Yeah.
So those step downs, when they have a line underneath the altitude, that is 8,900 feet or above.
Yep.
So check the altitude. All right, we can see our CDI starting to recenter. Just very gently make a very nice lazy turn back to 209 degrees.
Okay.
Just a very nice lazy turn. All right, roll out a little bit. We'll let it come back in a little bit more. There we go. And good job. We've got that pretty much captured. So roll out now, and we'll let it go ahead and fully center. Then once it's fully centered in the middle of our velocity vector, that's when we will go ahead and turn it back to 209. What's our DME?
21.
Roger.
So we're
Go
at
ahead.
8,600.
Yep, go ahead and start a descent down to 5,000 feet. And if you need to extend the speed brakes, go ahead and do so that way we don't get too fast in our descent. We want to be right at about 300 knots. So good job. We've got the localizer needle. Nice. Alright, we're descending pretty fast, so yeah, there you go. Good idea. And keep in mind that we want to breach that 5,000 feet by 13 DME.
That's 16.
Roger, so keep the descent coming. Alright, I think you can ease off on the speed brakes here. Want it to be right at about 250 knots. Keep that descent coming. Want it to be at 5,000 feet. Alright, let's try and recapture that localizer, just like you're doing. Good job. Alright. Leave it there and wait for him to come back into you. Alright, so stop the descent.
Altitude.
What's our DME?
We are at 12.4.
Roger that. So we can go ahead and continue our descent down to 4,200. And then at DME 7.2, we'll be cleared to go ahead and fly the Glideslope. So, roll wings level, our localizer's now to the left. Bring her left a bit.
Oh wow, we lost it.
Yep, we really did. So we gotta bring our nose further left than 210. So there we go, right there. All right, roll out and let the CDI recenter. Roll out for me. We don't want to make too large of a correction.
Oh wow, I really missed it.
Yeah, it's all good. We'll get it back. Watch the airspeed. Watch the airspeed. There we go. It's coming back, so start turning back to 210. There we go. So we're above the glide slope right now, so we want to start a descent. Alright, roll back out on 210. There we go. So start a descent down.
Yeah, I'm way high. I'm at 6,300 feet, man.
Yeah, you're very, very high. So we would have gone missed at this point, but we're in a game, so we'll just follow it on down and do the best we can.
Altitude. Altitude. Pull up. Pull up.
Yep, there we go. So
Pull up.
bring the nose back up.
Pull
There you
up.
go.
Altitude.
Oh, and there it is.
Damn, that's hard.
Yeah,
That is really hard.
it's really hard. Do you want me to watch me fly another one?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Let me get out of here. Damn, that isn't easy.
No, it's definitely not easy, and
But it's fun. I mean, it's,
Yeah.
it's it's fun.
yeah, it definitely is. So I'm gonna stop watching your stream, and I will
let me,
stream again. All right.
So did I pass my check off?
I think we both failed on that one, but
Yeah,
that's okay. I lived though, so I think I did a little better.
Do better, yes.
All right, so this time I will help you and I'll give some tips as to what I'm doing to actually recapture those needles after I blow past them.
Yep.
So it's all about kind of thinking, if I'm, it's like if you drew a straight line on a piece of paper, and then you took your pencil and you came back to that line and you're trying to bring your hand has to move the entire time, and you're bringing your hand and you go past your line, then you want to bring it back and you go past your line again. It's all about small corrections, and as you get closer and closer and closer to the actual runway, that CDI, your localizer needle, is going to get more and more sensitive to either side, because it's kind of like a big cone that kind of shoots out from the end of the runway for the localizer.
Okay.
I'll try to explain that more as I actually fly this for you.
Okay. I guess it's like small S-current turn corrections, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. So let's see. Bring on some lights for you to see a little bit better. We'll do this. And we'll go ahead and bring up our autopilot so that we can bring up our kneeboard, and we'll go back to Nellis. Alright, that's the approach we want.
Yep.
And we'll go ahead and get things set up. Alright, we want TACAN 12 X-ray, enter, and we want 10910, enter, and we want a course of 209er, enter.
Yep.
I'll speed up a little bit here so we can make it a little bit faster.
No, is your kneeboard, can you change the size of it at all?
I don't think so.
Well, the reason why I ask is I found it to be more of a distraction.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah,
we can turn it off then.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was like taking up the right portion of my screen.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird.
I have a big ultra-wide screen, so for me it doesn't get in the way.
That's why. I'm like,
Yeah.
man, yours is perfect.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, you can turn your kneeboard on and off as you need to.
Okay.
When I watch you do it for this next one, I'm going to have it open on my screen, so that way I can see it the whole time.
And just do the call out or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and you can also see how disorienting it can be flying an IMC, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was like, I don't know where the hell I'm at in the middle of these clouds. I mean.
Yeah. And then the ground got you, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Betty went pull up, and we both went, oh shit.
Yeah, exactly. No brakes, no turn.
Yeah. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start my descent on down.
Yep.
Looking for 8,900 feet. And we'll slow it down. And definitely, so in instrument training in real life, they, a CFI would tell you and train you on developing instrument scan. So that way you are looking at everything you need to see all the time.
Yeah.
And in the F-16, it's pretty easy because everything we need to see for an instrument approach is just in a vertical line between our HUD, our center pedestal instruments, and our HSI down below.
Yeah.
So we're just kind of doing this.
Yep. Very well thought out.
Yep, exactly. And in the early days of the F-16, a lot of guys who were coming in from the F-4 Phantom, the F-100 Super Sabre, and the F-105 Thunder Chief,
Yep.
they got I busted my altitude. They got really disoriented flying the F-16 because there's no canopy sills. There's nothing, you know.
Oh yeah. That was a bit weird to get used to.
Yeah, and you're out in the clouds, and so it can definitely be very disorienting. And so that's what these center pedestal instruments are for, so that the pilot can be heads down in the cockpit, concentrating just on flying his instruments and not have to worry about, you know, looking around or potentially getting disoriented.
Yep. That's like if I'm going into a negative G dive and you're over water, it's kind of like, oh, what's upside down here?
Yeah, and you go, it's very true, and it's real. If you're flying over a very featureless flat desert or a very featureless flat, are we getting, we should start to be getting,
Well, you got a red flag. Is it not picked up yet?
I think it's not picked up yet. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not getting a DME.
When I
12
start over.
X-ray. Oh, yeah. So I see my problem. Sequence,
Oh,
transmit,
you didn't
receive.
do transmit receive. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yep, there we go. Alright, we should be good to go now.
All right.
Yep, there we go.
Perfect.
Yep. Got distracted talking again, I guess. So, you know, everyone makes mistakes, and that's why it's important to make sure you're double checking things and noticing, you know, okay, well, I'm getting close to the, you know, that line that's going to be used for the localizer, and so why am I not getting any CDI indications? Oh, okay, it's transmit receive, right?
Yep.
And even when you were flying, you know, kind of out to where the localizer was gonna be, you were kind of having a lot of up and down motion kind of going, you know, trying to chase an altitude. You just want to put your velocity vector right on the horizon, which is this line that comes across the HUD, and just leave it there. And you want to make just as gentle of corrections as you possibly can.
Yeah. You know, I still do practice with the F-14, but
Yeah.
you get that muscle memory from the F-14, right? Because it's not fly-by-wire, so I'm like, you're putting a little bit more pressure into it.
Yeah.
Where with these fly-by-wire, you don't really need as much pressure.
Exactly. You just kind of let her fly herself, right?
Yeah, basically.
All right, we should be getting close here. There we go. And so we want to lead the CDI as much as we can. Because if we wait until the CDI is almost in the center, we're already past it. And see that one, I even turned a little too early, but that's fine. I'd rather turn early and be to the left of the localizer than be too far off and blow past it. And now I have to start making a bunch of big corrections again, because this is a lot easier, right?
Yeah.
And so if I'm only a little bit off, I just want to, you know, only go a few degrees to the right or to the left, so that way, when I just keep flying straight, I'll re-intercept the localizer rather than chasing the localizer, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So there we go. We're now at 290, and when we roll out, we're a little bit to the right of the localizer. So what we can do is we can roll just a couple degrees left, maybe 1 or 2 degrees, maybe 3, and just roll out and just let ourselves fly back into the localizer rather than, you know, trying to chase it.
Yeah.
Letting it come, be patient with it. So now it's coming back in. Okay, I'm gonna do a very gentle, easy turn to the right.
Yeah.
And now I'm back on final approach course. And there we go, we've captured the localizer perfectly. Now we'll take a look at DME. We're at 25. We're on altitude.
Yep. You got about 4
Sorry?
more miles. Yeah, you got
Yep.
4 miles.
Yep.
So you hit 21 crisp.
Yep. Just making nice, easy corrections. If you're in a real airplane and you're IMC and you make hard corrections and you start moving the stick around a lot, you're going to get disoriented very, very easily, and you're going to get yourself in trouble. So it's all about just being smooth and gentle.
That's what pilot-induced oscillation. That's what they call that.
Exactly. You'll notice on the HUD here, our needles, when needle is solid, it means you can fly it and use it as a director. But if the needle is dotted or dashed, it means that it's no good. You can't use it yet. So this will turn into a solid nut line right before we get to ROTC at the correct altitude, and then it'll turn solid, and then we can start flying the glide slope.
Got it.
I'm a bit high now. That's okay. Like I said, I'd rather be high than low. And so remember, if I'm below the glide slope, and we're coming down, and we're a bit below the glide slope, what you can do is instead of trying to ascend back up to the glide slope, that glide slope's going to be, you know, slanting down to the runway anyway. I might as well just level out and re-intercept the glide slope rather than chasing the glide slope. Same thing as we would do with the localizer when it comes to left to right movements.
Yep. How many miles out are you?
We're currently, oh man, I blew right past it. So we gotta kind of really drop here.
Okay, where were you at? 14?
Yeah, I was at 15, so no good. But we'll get back down here. I wish it showed us the DME on the HUD. That would be
bad. Yeah, that would be good. I would like that.
Yeah, that would be very, very helpful. So at 13, we want to be at 5,000. So we'll continue on down to 14.2, or sorry, 4.2 for a DME of 7.2. Go ahead and extend my speed brake here. I think we'll make it down there. Like I said, it's easier to be high and come down on the glide slope than it is to be low and try to recapture it that way. Alright, so we're to the left of the localizer, so we're coming back right to recapture it.
Altitude.
Alright. Perfect, we're going to get back onto course. Okay, we're going to level it out here and let ourselves recapture the localizer, and now we're flying the glide slope.
Yep.
So I'm just going to level out here and recapture the glide slope.
Okay. What's your altitude?
Altitude is 3,800.
Okay.
Little balloon there from lowering the landing gear. That's okay. We're going to keep our descent coming, and we're going to capture the glide slope. There we go. Right on glide slope, right on course. We're a little bit low, so now we got to recapture again. We got to come back back to the final approach course. And we're low again, so I'm going to level out here. And it's very, very easy to want to chase that localizer.
Oh yeah.
So as we're coming back into it here, we want to come back to our... Alright. We got a little bit better this time. We're in a better spot. Oop, I'm going to start to see the ground now. That's a little scary. I'm going to raise my seat a little bit so I can see a little bit better.
Yeah, I see that.
And there we go. Flew a much better approach that time.
Yeah.
We're underneath the glide slope, but we're breaking out individual conditions. And we'll just land visually now.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that's no joke.
Yeah, it's rough.
Altitude. Altitude. Altitude.
And we'll keep our nose up for some aero braking.
Yeah.
So that was a much better approach than the last one. Not perfect, but
Not good.
much, much better. And of course a much better landing as a result. A good approach is going to make for a good landing.
Yeah.
All right. Your turn again?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Let's
Perfect. Let's do it.
I gotta get back in your server.
Yep.
on, give me a second.
No problem.
Alright.
Alright, I'm going to end my stream here. Join your stream.
You there?
Yep. Alright, I'm gonna have the approach plate up. If you don't want it up, that's fine. So TACAN's 12 X-ray.
Yep.
Yep, there we go. We'll not make my mistake. Transmit, receive, and then it's
109, right?
Yep, 1091. Course of 209er. So again, we're kind of drifting off to the right-hand side here.
Did I go afoul already?
I think you're okay. Just make sure we're at altitude 8,900. If you could turn on the instrument lights, that would kind of help.
Just trying to make it difficult for you.
This is already difficult enough.
You're right. There we go.
Perfect. So I don't know if maybe it's the way you're holding the stick or something like that, but you have a tendency to want to roll to the right. So just make sure you keep that in mind.
Yep.
So for this one, we just want to make sure we're doing nice, gentle inputs.
Yep. I don't know why that's got
What's
the TACAN on.
No, it's all good. It's blocked by the mountains right now.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we won't get it until we're probably until we're closer to waypoint 1. So we're starting to get the Morse code.
Yep.
And that means we're receiving a signal. And now if you look down, we probably have DME now.
Yep.
Keep in mind that TACAN signals and ILS signals are all line of sight. So if there's a mountain between us, we won't be able to hear them.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So bring your heading back to a heading of 270, and that way it'll be a easier turn to intercept the localizer.
Okay.
There you go.
Could I have kept flying straight or not really?
You could have, but it would have been a more difficult turn to get back onto course because you were more than 90 degrees off the course.
Okay.
So right now we're really looking at the distance to our waypoint 1, which is more or less, it's probably about 10 miles further out than our initial approach fix, so we should start to see the CDI start to pop up when we're about 4 miles away from our waypoint 1.
Got it.
Make sure we're making just nice slight corrections.
I don't think, well, maybe I haven't reached it yet.
Nope, you haven't reached it yet. Everything looks like it's all in the right spots, so, and we're getting DME, so it's no worries.
Yeah.
So start to slow it down to about 300 knots here. But as we slow down, retain the same altitude. There we go. Alright, we're getting close. Keep in mind we still have that tendency to roll right, so we're coming off of that 270 heading.
Yeah, we are.
Alright, we should be getting pretty close here. Alright, so our CDI is starting to come, so start your gentle left-hand turn to 209 degrees. So we can see that needle turn solid, so now we're tracking that needle. So a bit of a harder turn as that guy gets closer and closer. We want to bring it on to 209er as quickly as we can.
Okay.
Yep, so we can see we're now a little bit to the right of the localizer, and that's okay. We will re-intercept it. We're a little bit low, so make sure we're keeping our same altitude. Alright, so bring it to a heading of 200 so that we can re-intercept the localizer. That's fine right there. When that localizer needle touches the circle of our velocity vector, that's when you want to start that right-hand turn back to 209er.
Okay.
Alright, what's our DME?
It says 53.
Okay.
This thing's working.
I think it's right because you drifted pretty far to the right in our run-in. So we got plenty of time to re-intercept the localizer. We're just going to let it drift on back by itself. There you go.
To 20 what? 9?
209er, because that's our final approach course.
Yep, got it.
That's one of the reasons why it's nice to have the approach plate up on the HUD or on the screen with you, but that's totally understand that it was distracting. Alright, so there you go. Now you're pretty much on it. So bring it back to 209er degrees. Boom, you're on it. So Roll out and continue on that 209er heading. Perfect, right?
Yep. Well, just about.
Yep. If you want to correct, just come just a degree or two to the left. Alright, we're a bit low, so let's get back up to 8,900. Keep an eye on your airspeed. Want to be at 300 knots. Alright. Alright, how far out are we?
So it says 53.
Oh, really? That's not
Yeah.
right.
I didn't think so.
Okay. Let's see, we've got 12 X-ray, we've got transmit receive, we've got the correct frequency on there. It might be a DCS bug. Let's try cycling the modes of the HSI.
So it says 53.
Okay. Well, we'll go ahead and continue the approach here. Just keep on flying the localizer. And then once we get a solid line for the glide slope, we'll go ahead and follow the glide slope down.
Okay.
So remember, we're to the left of the glide slope. Or sorry, of the localizer, so we want to actually be bringing the aircraft to the left to correct. We want to follow the needle. There you go. Okay, so we have solid lines, so you can start your descent now.
Okay.
We'll go ahead and disregard the DME.
Okay. And I'm down to 5,000, correct?
Yeah, we're gonna go start coming down to 5,000.
I should probably correct my course. I'm at 205.
Yep. Alright, speed brakes out. Alright, so now that we're in the clouds, very gentle, easy motions. Let's go ahead and continue our descent to 4,200. Okay.
Altitude. Altitude.
Easing it up a little bit. We're gonna want to follow the glide slope now. We've got it. We've got it. There you go. So it's gonna be about a 2.5 to 3 degree descent. So go ahead and keep bringing us down. And we'll go ahead and dirty up. Yep, the gear is going to make you balloon. Go ahead and push the stick down to fight that. Want to get back on our glide slope. So keep the descent coming in. Increase the throttles a little bit. Pull in the speed brake a bit. We're getting pretty slow. If you need to, raise up the seat. Yep. Stalling. It's okay.
Yeah.
Just bring in the speed brake and push the throttle a mil.
Yep.
Alright, there we go. Let's get back to 200 knots if we can. Get back on the localizer and follow the...
Shoot, I'm way high. I'm at 5,300 feet.
Yep. We gotta bring it back down. So you're 10 degrees nose high and you're an afterburner, so you're gonna be ascending. So there we go. So push the nose down. Remember the pitch ladder. We gotta follow the pitch ladder.
Yep.
We're off the localizer now. So go ahead and bring it back to the right.
Altitude. Altitude.
Alright, there you go. Go ahead and roll out there. Keep the descent coming.
What's
going.
my altitude
You're
supposed to be?
I'm not sure because we don't have DME. We should be following the glide slope.
Gotcha.
So we've got a full deflection to the right, so we want to bring the aircraft to the right to re-intercept the localizer. Oh, whoa, there we go. Well, we made it to the airfield.
Altitude.
Oh wait, I'm skipping across.
Yep.
Yeah, that's definitely a DCS thing.
Yeah, so does it still say 53 for the DME on the HSI?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. Hey, I came to a complete stop, man, and I'm alive.
Yep, there you go. Any landing you can walk away from.
Oh look, no wheels.
Nice. You
Awesome.
want to do it again?
No, not really.
Okay. I can understand that.
I'll practice on my own. Now I'm starting to get a headache.
Okay.